Hello, John Robertson back again for another video using Oscar EMR. Today I want to have a quick look at how the calendar function works in eForms. I was prompted to do this because in fact I wanted an input that had time that could change rather than date. And after going through some steps here, I thought it would be useful to walk through how the calendar works in the eForms and to show you how you can get the calendar working in your eForms. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into administration and we're going to go into manage eForms. And I'm just going to show you the easiest way to get the code into one of your eForms, and that's using the eForm generator. Now, I'm not going to do a full eForm here. We're specifically just looking at the code for the calendar. So I'm just going to load a blank page and then we can get started. There we go. So I'm going to load that blank page. And then I'm going to go down to number 5 here where it says add in form input fields one by one. And I'm specifically going to go to the ones that are from the Oscar database. I'm going to load today. And by loading an input that has today, that's going to put most of the code in, and then I can go forward from there. So I'm just going to create a box that has the today field in it. And rather than doing a full eForm, I'm just going to scroll down here and I'm going to go to the generate eForm, and I'm going to just show you what the code looks like. So when we scroll down in the header part here, down towards the bottom of the header, you're going to see this here where it says main calendar program. And this code, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code is what you need to put in the header. And it usually shows up towards the bottom of the header. And then you can see I put today in here, and the today will full Oscar database today in here. But the other important bit that we need to look at is right down at the bottom, between where it says form and where it says body. There's this section here, define date calendars. And we've got one here where the input field is today and the button is the same as the input field, it's today. And this has put a 4-day year in, a 2-day month, and a 2-day day in with dashes in between the numbers. If you want slashes, you take that out and you put a slash in where the dash is. And later on, I'm going to show you how you can configure this so that you get a 3-letter month rather than a digit for the month, and multiple other inputs that you can use. And we're going to also talk about doing a time rather than a date. So this is the basic code for a basic calendar. And if you have multiple inputs that all need a calendar in them, you take the ID of the input field instead of today, and you simply copy this line and paste it in below it, and then you put the ID in place of today, and then you'll have a second calendar for wherever the other input field is. So now I'm just going to show you an eForm that I was making. The first one I'm going to show you here is the Ontario application for accessible parking. And if we scroll down here where it says date, and we click in this date field, this calendar shows up for us. And we can go backwards a month, and forward a month. We can go backward a year and then forward a year. We can see here where the instructions are. And we can pick whatever day we choose. Whatever day we're choosing does show up down here. That is a simple calendar, and once you use the code I showed you, we're going to just pop that in and get a calendar. Now, for my purposes, I was making an eForms that had both a date and it had a time. And this is the bit down here, the time bit. And if you click on the 12, that will change to a 13. And if you shift click on the 13, it'll go down to a 12. So clicking increases by 1 and shift clicking decreases by 1. And the same is true for the minutes. If I click on 36 minutes, and you can see that was a shift click and it actually changed to 35. And now if I click on the 35, and it'll go up 1 to 36. And the code I've got written for this gives me a time, and it gives me AM or PM. Now, once you've got that code in, you can do that multiple times. I just want to show you where all of the instructions for this calendar are. And the instructions for the calendar actually are in your installation of Oscar. So this is the address on top for your instance of Oscar. The asterisks represent the specific parts that are unique to your installation. And then the second line is where in your installation you would find the PDF that goes over the calendar. You simply remove the asterisks and replace it with what you normally see in your address bar when you are logged into Oscar. So I have just jumped in my installation of Oscar to the page that has the instructions for me. And it's a 20-page long document, but what I'm going to look at right now is actually page 16. So what you find here is all of the different ways you can change your calendar. So you can get weekday names, you can get abbreviated or full month names, you can get a 12 or 24-hour clock in there, you can get AM and PM, you can have the day of the week, and any other of these options can all go into your code for your calendar. Now, having a look at that last eForm I showed you, my date field was the appointment field, and I have the percentage capital Y for a 4-number year, and then a percentage small m for a 2-number month, and a percentage small d for the day. And then I've got a space here, and then I've got a percentage A, and that percentage A is a 3-letter description of the day of the week. So MON for Monday, WED for Wednesday. And then the time input, the input is called time. The things that I've done differently here, I've got a percentage with a capital I, and that's for the 1 to 12 hours of the morning or afternoon, and a percentage with a capital M is for 1 to 59 minutes, and then the percentage small p gives me AM and PM. The other important bit here that I've put in is shows time :true, and this shows me the time. When I click on the input, the time is down at the bottom of the calendar like I was showing you earlier, and you can increase or decrease the time. If we go back to my eForm here, as I mentioned, you can click or shift click to change the time, but you can actually also click and drag. So if I click and drag on the 12 and I drag to the left, I can drag it and change it to decrease the number. And then if I click and drag on the 1 now, and I drag it to the right, I can increase the number. And the same is true for the minute. So I can drag to the right and increase, or I can drag to the left and decrease. Now this bit here with the time doesn't show up unless you use the code that I just showed you here, shows time true. That's just a quick look at the calendar. You might want to have a look at the instructions that I showed you that will be in your own install and take some time to read through that. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.